Welcome to Tritiyo Matra. Relations between Bangladesh and the South Korea, officially known as the Republic of Korea, began on 18th December 1973. Since then, a strong diplomatic relationship has developed based on mutually beneficial trade and development assistance. At present, Korea is the fifth largest foreign direct investor in Bangladesh. To discuss the current nature and the future of the bilateral relationship between Bangladesh and the Republic of Korea, it is my great pleasure to welcome to today's show Ambassador LEE Jang-Keun. Ambassador LEE Jang-Keun was appointed as the 18th Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Republic of Korea to the People's Republic of Bangladesh in 2020. He is a career diplomat, and before coming to Bangladesh, he was ambassador and deputy permanent representative of the Korean Permanent Mission to the United Nations Office and other international organizations in Geneva and Switzerland. Ambassador, welcome to the show.
So very nice to see you. I would like to thank you for inviting me here and also giving me this very precious opportunity to discuss about our bilateral relations with the Bangladeshi audience. Thank you so much.
Indeed, it's our pleasure having you in this show. Mr. Ambassador, you have joined your office in Bangladesh amid the COVID-19 pandemic. How is your experience in this country so far? And have you found the time to roam around and explore Bangladesh?
Yes, indeed. I came here in Bangladesh July 2020. That was the height of pandemic in this country. Even when I arrived, still there was a lockdown in this country, and it was very strange and awkward for diplomat to start a mandate in that very particular situation. And first of all, I needed to accustom to the the new way of diplomacy, not meeting people, but having my work virtually in most of the time. That was very strange, but I had no choice but to get familiar with that. That was first experience. And second experience, I'm here for the past 20 months, was about the learning process of this country. And this was the very special year for Bangladesh, the golden jubilee of Bangladesh's independence, and also all the country and people were celebrating this so-called Mujib Bosho, the centenary of the birth of great leader. So that gave me a very good opportunity to learn about this country, about the history of this country. And also during the course, I realized the similarity and commonality between Korea and Bangladesh. And another impression I came to have for the past 20 months was the very impressive economic progress of this country. And even during the pandemic time, it was very remarkable to see with my own eyes about the very solid economic accomplishment of this country. So that was very good experience for me here.
Mr. LEE Jang-Keun, it has been 49 years since both countries established diplomatic relations. What's your opinion on the current state of diplomatic ties between our two nations?
So I would say without hesitation that Korea and Bangladesh have enjoyed very close, excellent friendship and partnership for the past 5 decades. And there are many things I can tell you, but if I share with you why I say this, first about the trade. Our trade volume crossed $2 billion last year. That was a historic high. And Korea is the 10th largest import sourcing country for Bangladesh. And for Korea, Bangladesh is 41st main export destination of Korean products. So in trade, we have enjoyed very close relations. And about the investment, also Korea has been a very solid investment country to Bangladesh. Already Korea is number 5 in terms of the accumulated size. And after United States, UK, the Netherlands, and Singapore, it's Korea. very interesting.
Indeed.
So Korea is before China or Japan even. This is the Bangladesh Bank statistics.
Yeah.
And also in terms of the ODA, official development assistance, even though the size is not that big as big countries like United States or Japan, but for Korea, Bangladesh is the third largest country that we provide our official development assistance. And I have to also say about this expatriate workers. This expatriate workers is a very major part of Bangladesh's economic and also foreign policy.
Right.
But Korea has been a partner in this very special area.
Many years.
Yeah. So every year we are taking at least 2,000 Bangladeshi workers under very special system we call EPS, Employment Permit System. So every year we take 2,000 Bangladeshi workers, and up to now, since 2007, we have taken around 25,000 Bangladeshi workers in Korea. And Korea becomes the very popular destination for Bangladesh expatriate workers.
Ambassador Lee, is South Korea planning for any initiative to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the diplomatic relations next year?
Yes, next year is a very important year in our relations. Our two countries will celebrate together the 50th anniversary. And this year will be very important because we will look back at the relations between us for the past 50 years and also look forward the next 50 years. So I have many ideas and plans to celebrate together and to make this year a meaningful year. And there will be obviously many cultural delegations. The cultural team will visit here, and also from Bangladesh also. Bangladesh's cultural team will visit Korea and celebrate together. And there will be also exchange of messages by the leaders of the two countries. And many things will happen next year. But I have some specific plan of my own to make some documentary of our relations, so that let people know about the relations, how close has been our two countries' relations.
And you're planning to air those documentaries on television channels?
Yes, yes. Already one documentary on RMG collaboration has been done, and it will be soon released. And I will work on another documentary regarding infrastructure collaboration. Right. So this is a very important initiative from my side. And another initiative I'm thinking of, and also I'm discussing with the city government, is to have some some name of a street as a Korea street, or Korea Avenue, or Korea Bangladesh Friendship Avenue, like that, or designate some part of the park as a Korea Bangladesh Friendship Garden. So I do not know whether I can realize it, but I'm working on it and discussing with ministry and also with the city government.
Great, great. As you mentioned about the ODA. In Republic of Korea's current ODA policy, Bangladesh has been highlighted as one of the priority countries in South Asia. What is the reason for Republic of Korea's focus on Bangladesh?
I would say about 4 elements in that regard. First is about the commonality. This commonality between Korea and Bangladesh makes us to have more interest in having better relations, good relations with Bangladesh. Commonality means the cultural commonality. So we have a similar culture as an Asian country, and also we have very similar history of independence. Both countries have fought for independence from the colonialization from Korean side, and also our two countries fought for defending our own language. Bangladesh, I understand, is very proud of have this history of defending your own language, and Korea has also they're very proud history of having that kind of struggle. And both countries, the rose from very difficult situation. In Korea case, from the ashes of war, we could build up our economy and country. So this commonality, and also as Korea's economic success could have been done with the support of international community. So without international community support, we could not achieve our own economic success. So we would like to pay back what we received from international community to us. And we would like to help other countries to develop their economy.
Ambassador, the large share of investment from Republic of Korea in Bangladesh has been in the ready-made garments sector, as we have mentioned earlier. Are there avenues for potential investment in Bangladesh other than RMG that the Republic of Korea might be interested?
So let me first talk about how close our RMG cooperation. RMG is more than 70% of Korea's investment in this country. Our accumulated stock volume of investment is $1.3 billion US dollars. Out of that, $900 million is in the RMG sector. And we have about 300 Korean companies operating and investing in this country. And majority of these Korean companies are in RMG sector. So RMG is the center of our collaboration. And also in terms of our trade, Korea is importing from Bangladesh around $600 million last year, but more than 80% is RMG sector. And but this RMG has occupied too much and too long in our relations. So diversification of our cooperation is a very important task for both countries. So we are working very vigorously on how we diversify our investment and our business relations. And what is happening now is about the activities in the areas of infrastructure development and electronics and also automobiles. We are seeing some very tangible progress in terms of infrastructure. Many Korean construction and engineering companies are operating in this country and participating in many infrastructure related projects like airport, power plants, and highways, and the water projects, and even railways and subway programs. Korean companies are involved. And in terms of the electronics, as you may know that Samsung Electronics had a partnership with local company called the Fair Group, and they started locally assembled.
I have visited that factory. Amazing.
Yes. That started only from 2013. But now Samsung is manufacturing most of its electronic devices here in Bangladesh. Mobile phones, they started 2018, but still in just 3 years' time, Samsung became the largest market sharer of mobile phones. And even Samsung has a research center here in Dhaka. Many do not know that. The global company Samsung established R&D center in Dhaka, and they employs around 400 software developers. So electronics, we are seeing the very active involvement of Korean company here. And automobiles, the same Fair Group of Bangladesh, they will start assemble Hyundai cars in Bangladesh. I heard that as early as June, they might start assemble these Hyundai cars. And from next year, many of Hyundai car models will be assembled in this country.
Lee, what have been the biggest challenges the Republic of Korea has faced while trying to invest in Bangladesh?
Korean companies here have enjoyed a very successful business operation, but they are facing constantly these difficulties, and major difficulties might be about inconsistent, complicated, and unpredictable
yeah.
this government process. And largely, it is about these taxes and tariff duties related issues. My embassy is receiving many requests from Korean companies to assist them in resolving these tax or duty related issues. And even my own embassy is from time to time experience some difficulties in tax and custom clearance related things. Like when we decided to provide some rapid test kits for the coronavirus to this government. And it took more than 3 months to take these items out of the customs, out of the airport, due to the very complicated.
Very sad, actually.
And this, in the end, it is all resolved. But it takes time. And time is money. If it takes more than 3 months for the embassy, I could easily understand how difficult it could be for the private sector, business people. So there are some issues like that, and there will be some other issues. But that situation is somewhat improving slowly.
Okay. As you know that according to most international indexes, the ease of doing business in Bangladesh is quite poor, and you have already mentioned about this actually. How can the foreign investment climate in Bangladesh be improved?
I think the most important thing for Bangladesh government is to look after the companies already having invested in this country, already operating here in Bangladesh. So look for those companies already in here and listen to them might be the first step that can improve the business environment in this country. So if the companies already having business here is successful, if they do not have any complaint, then it will be very natural that more and more companies would come and do business and do investment in this country. So again, look after the companies already here in order to attract more new companies from outside.
So, Mr. LEE Jang-Keun, is the Republic of Korea seeking to establish a free trade agreement with Bangladesh? Will such an arrangement be mutually beneficial for both nations?
Yes, now there is some discussion started between the two governments, especially as Bangladesh will graduate from the LDC status from 2026. And you may know that Korea has been providing preferential access to Korean market by Bangladesh product. 95% of Bangladesh product is duty and quota free to Korean market since 2012. But if Bangladesh graduates from the LDCs in 2026, that preferential access will come to an end. So that we need to look for some other arrangement for the preparation of post-LDC graduation. So this having an FTA will be one way that we can look into, but still no official discussion has started. But we may soon start some feasibility study. Some study on the option of having FTAs between our two countries. So if we could conduct that feasibility study, and out of the result of the study, there might be some follow-up actions by the two governments.
Okay. South Korea plays a role as an observer nation of SAARC and dialogue partner at IORA. From the Republic of Korea's perspective, how effective have SAARC and other regional multilateral platforms been in promoting regional interconnectivity?
So the regional cooperation is a very important pillar of Korea's foreign policy. And that is the reason why Korea decided to join the SAARC as an observer in 2006 and to join as a dialogue partner in IORA from 2018. And it is the consideration of the importance of regional cooperation in our foreign policy. And SAARC is very important because this is a very unique regional cooperation organization in South Asia. So Korea started the annual the dialogue with the SAARC by having annual kind of the partnership seminar hosted by Korea annually. And we discuss about the ways to explore some cooperative relations between Korea and SAARC countries. And I believe that regional cooperation and regional connectivity is very essential, crucial for the region of South Asia, but also for the very development of this country, Bangladesh. But the situation, reality here, seems to be quite challenging to have a meaningful regional connectivity cooperation because of the rivalry and also competition among the big players in this region. We do have the similar situation in our own region in Northeast Asia. Korea wants to have more sturdy regional cooperation in Northeast Asia, but we have also big players, big countries surrounding Korea. So these players are competing and sometimes confronting each other. So that makes this regional cooperation not easy, somewhat difficult. So it seems to be the same in this region, but in this region, even though that is a challenge, the increasing the confrontation or competition among the big powers will be a challenge here. But also, I see the possibility, opportunities of regional cooperation in this region, seeing that the continuous economic progress and development of the countries in this region. That will provide a very big opportunity for the regional connectivity effort in this region. As if the countries in the region is slowed down and they perform somewhat poorly in economy, then there might be additional difficulties. But fortunately, the countries in this region, especially Bangladesh, is doing very well. And that will create a very good opportunity for successful regional cooperation in this region.
Ambassador Lee, here is another very important geopolitical issues. So what's your opinion regarding the shifting power dynamics in the Indian and Pacific Ocean due to economic rivalries between superpower nations?
So it is somewhat cautious to speak about the uneasy relations between the big countries. But in the history of the world, these small countries, small powers, often fell victim to the rivalry of big powers. So, in particular, when these small countries are pushed to take side among these two powers, then that gives small countries in a very difficult situation. And for Korea, we support the cooperative approach of any kind of issues and relations. So we do wish that these big powers not confront, not compete, but collaborate and cooperate, so that make these smaller powers' life and destiny easier. So. But this is the reality, and I don't think anyone can deny this reality. But on some other aspect, this situation might create some opportunities for a country like Korea. Big powers are competing each other. That makes smaller players uneasy. But Korea is not a big power, but not a very small power or small player. But Korea, I would say that we do not have any strategic interest in this region, while the big powers, big players have some strategic interest, which goes beyond economic interest. So that I sense that Bangladesh is also somewhat cautious, seeing this increasing confrontation of big powers. So that they feel the necessity of diversifying their diplomatic efforts to look for some other diplomatic partners. And Korea might be one good diplomatic partner in this situation of confronting or conflicting rivalries among the big powers.
Is the Republic of Korea worried of the potential fallout between China and the US having adverse effects on freedom of navigation in the South China Sea?
We are somewhat concerned about the worsening relations between the two major countries. But as Korea is a major trading power, Korea's economy is heavily dependent on the trade. So having a safe, free trade route is very important. So that the freedom of navigation in Indian and Pacific Ocean is very important for us. So we do wish that these countries should that these countries involved should guarantee all the countries access to this important trade route, so that make this India and Pacific Ocean route, maritime route, as a safe, free, this maritime area that every country should enjoy and can navigate.
Mr. Lee, recently North Korea did a missile test on once again on 16th March this year. It is known that relations between South and North Korea are volatile. Does this volatility affect the economy and business environment of Republic of Korea?
So I'm not sure that I can say that the situation in Korean Peninsula is volatile because of the North Korea's provocation. The North Korea's provocation is nothing new. They have done this years and years. They have continuously detonated nuclear devices and also launched missiles. And even though March 13th, they launched so-called ICBM for the first time in several years. So as it has been done for many years in the past, as it is nothing new, I don't think Korea will be vulnerable and volatile by North Korea's provocations, especially our economy. The Korean economy has been progressing despite of all these threats
and very strong base.
Yes. So we have already proved that this provocation will not have any major impact on Korea's economic development.
But do you believe it is possible for any form of reconciliation to occur between Republic of Korea and Democratic People's Republic of Korea?
Obviously, reconciliation, even the reunification, is our ultimate national goal. We want to have good relations with our brother in North, like we are enjoying with Bangladesh.
Yeah.
So we are enjoying such a good normal relations with other countries, but not with North Korea. The important thing is that South Korea continuously extended the offer of dialogue to come to the dialogue table to discuss about our issues, whether it is military, political, or whether it is about this humanitarian, medical, or economic, or development, any kind of issues. We hope to discuss with North Korea and to find the ways to do together. We want peace. We want co-prosperity. We want stability of our region. We do not want confrontation. We do not want anything that can go against the welfare of the people. So it should be wise to invest all this money not in developing weapons, in detonating and testing these missiles, but in the economy, in the development of the country, for the the prosperity of of their own people. So that is our very basic position, and we do hope that the North Korean leader make a very right decision for the better future of all South and North Korea.
Ambassador, what is the general perception of the people of Republic of Korea regarding Bangladesh?
I would say that many Korean people may not know well about Bangladesh, including myself. So before I came here, I did not know. I did know, but I didn't know well. I didn't know correctly about this country.
Okay.
Two things. First, it's ignorance. They about Bangladesh, and second thing, if they know, even though they know about Bangladesh, they have some prejudice. They do not know Bangladesh as not as Bangladesh what it is, but as Bangladesh what they perceive. But their perception, frankly speaking, I would say, is not that all positive from outside. So, like when it comes to Bangladesh, they
so
might.
a lot of work need to be done.
Yes, yes. So that is what I'm focusing in my work and also in my collaboration with my counterpart. So whenever I meet Korean colleagues, I say that you have to look Bangladesh in a different way, different manner. Bangladesh now is not the Bangladesh that was 20 years ago. Bangladesh now is very different. I often say that, for instance, Bangladesh's GDP has grown 3 times in past 10 years. And in past 20 years, Bangladesh's GDP economic size has grown 6 times. So you have to see and know Bangladesh as of now, not 5-10 years ago. So that is very important.
Okay. And there are a substantial number of migrant workers in Korea. You have mentioned earlier from Bangladesh. The 2009 Korean film Bandhobi highlighted issues of prejudice against migrant workers in Korea. How has the social situation in Korea evolved since then in this regard?
I saw that movie Bandhobi. That's a very interesting movie, very thought-provoking movie. But I would say that the labor environment in Korea has progressed a lot for the past 10-20 years. And during the course of Korea's democratization, there has been many measures and policies taken to protect the right of the workers, to the welfare of the workers. So that general labor environment in Korea has been improved a lot. And most importantly, the foreign workers, including Bangladesh, they enjoy the same the labor right as Korean workers. There is no discrimination. So the Bangladeshi workers are now enjoying this very improved labor environment, labor right environment. And that may be the reason why Korea has become a very popular destination for many Bangladeshi expatriate workers. For instance, we have increased our minimum wage in a very substantial manner. Now the hourly minimum wage is a little bit more than $8. But these foreign workers, including Bangladesh, they are entitled to have this minimum wage as the Korean workers are entitled. So Korea has changed quite differently, especially in labor rights, and there shouldn't be any worry and concerns.
Ambassador Lee, you know that the Republic of Korea has provided generous aid to Bangladesh in sheltering Rohingya refugees from Myanmar. What is the South Korea's stance regarding the Rohingya genocide and subsequent refugee crisis? Are there possibilities for targeted sanctions against the Myanmar military?
I think the Rohingya issue is not only the humanitarian issue, but also it's a human right issue.
Yeah, of course.
So Korea is working very closely with the international community to resolve this Rohingya crisis. This is a very international matter. And from the humanitarian side, Korea has been providing support through the international organizations here in Bangladesh for supporting the Rohingyas relocated, hosted generously by Bangladesh government. Annually, we are providing around $5 million to look after the Rohingyas and also their host community in Bangladesh. So that is our humanitarian side effort. Human rights side, it's a human rights issue. Yeah, that is very complicated and more difficult the element of the Rohingya issue. Humanitarian side, you can provide assistance. But human rights side, there is the violator and victims, and by their own government, military government. So Korea is joining, co-sponsoring this UN resolution on human rights situation in Myanmar. That resolution is targeting the Myanmar authoritarian government, which is not upholding their own citizens' human rights. So again, Korea is working very closely with the international community here. And in order to make meaningful progress, there should be a progress both in humanitarian and human rights sides. Human rights sides to resolve that there needs some reconciliation between the government and between the victims. And regarding your question about targeted sanctions on military, already Korea is among the few countries which are sanctioning the Myanmar's military government, especially after the coup they made years ago. So Korea's policy toward Myanmar has dramatically changed before the coup and after the coup. After seeing the harsh crackdown on their own people, claiming for the democracy and human rights, Korea, Korea, which has gone through these phases in the past, we know how valuable the human rights. We know how valuable the people's proclaim for the democratization. So we decided to stop our collaboration with the military government, and we decided not to provide military equipment or related equipment to Myanmar. And also we dramatically scaled down our ODA to Myanmar. Before, Myanmar was also one of the major recipients of Korea's ODA, but now we have significantly scaled down.
So, Mr. Ambassador, we don't have enough time to talk about other questions, but I have a few questions for you, and I hope you will answer all these very precisely. You have visited the Fashanchor island on 3rd March, where about 20,000 Rohingya refugees were relocated from Cox's Bazar since December 2020. Do you think it is possible to create the situation in Myanmar to facilitate the safe repatriation of the refugees and restore their dignity?
Yes, I think we are all working for that, the bilaterally, regionally, and also internationally. Not only safe but dignified, orderly, and sustainable return of Rohingya people back to their home is the ultimate goal of international community. And for that, we support all the effort. We highly appreciate Bangladesh's effort to negotiate with the Myanmar government, even military government, and also work with the major powers like China or India and other countries. So we support all these efforts, and through together with the international community, we are, making effort to create the conditions for this this return happen. But I think the big players which have bigger influence, their role will be very important.
And South Korea has already invested in promoting vocational training and education in Bangladesh. Are there plans to expand support in the realm of higher education in Bangladesh? How can education and cultural exchange between the two nations be improved?
So this human resources development has been the center of our development assistance to Bangladesh. Already we have established 3 vocational training centers, one in Dhaka, one in Chattogram, and one in Rajshahi. So it's several hundreds and thousands people are trained there, and these centers are helping Bangladesh people to have the right jobs. And also recently we have embarked on very important high level of skill development through KOICA, Korea International Development Agency. One is in the nursing area. We recently established Advanced Nursing Institute in Dhaka. And this nursing institute is training the very high-skilled nurses which are required for the health sector in Bangladesh. And just last year, we launched together with Dhaka University a startup entrepreneur center to help to enhance the capacity of Bangladesh universities for this young entrepreneurship. That the 2 initiatives were very recent major initiative by Korea for helping the higher level of education here in Bangladesh. And another area might be these scholarship programs and Bangladesh students who go to Korea for studying, for higher studying. There are now around 1,500 Bangladesh students are studying in Korea. They are mainly in higher education. Majority are in master's and doctorate degrees. And they are mainly in engineering field. So the number is increasing every year, even though the corona situation slowed down. So number is increasing. And I think in the future there will be much more Bangladesh students who will get these higher degrees in Korea, and largely with the scholarship opportunities, either from Korean government or from the universities themselves.
So, Mr. Ambassador, what are the lessons South Korea took home from the P4G summit? Are there any plans from the Korean government to work with Bangladesh in combating the effects of climate change?
Yes, Bangladesh is one of the 12 member country of P4G. And P4G means for partnership, the partnership for green growth and global goal. This 4G is means 4P, so that is the reason why we call it P4G. And one of the very important characteristic of P4G process is the partnership. Partnership not only among the countries and government, but between the public and private sector. So this partnership, public-private partnership, is one very important pillar of our P4G process. And Bangladesh, after the P4G summit, already P4G review team visited Bangladesh and also reviewed the 4 projects proposed by Bangladesh in the garment sector, in water resources sector, and in this damage control area as well. So already this follow-up has been done after the P4G summit with Bangladesh. And regarding bilateral program by Korean government to Bangladesh, I would introduce 2 major projects. One is the satellite analysis system Korea is going to provide to Bangladesh. That will help Bangladesh government capacity to weather forecast, to have an accurate weather forecast. And by doing that, you can respond to the possible the climate catastrophe, and also mitigate the damages from them. So satellite analysis system Korea is going to provide to Bangladesh. And another interesting area is using drone technology. So together with the World Bank, one Korean company is working on using drone technology to monitor the water quality of the rivers in Bangladesh. So there are many programs going on between our two governments regarding this climate change related area.
So, Mr. Ambassador, we are almost at the end of the program, and here is the final question. Do you believe the target of net zero emission is feasible in the near future, or are we still far away from this goal? Do you feel that the pace and the nature of Bangladesh's current growth is sustainable?
Yes, even though it might not be easy to achieve this carbon neutrality by mid of this century. But even though it is difficult, it is an agreement in the international community to achieve this goal. And this goal can be achieved only through collective willingness and collective effort of entire international community. And what we saw in P4G summit and also followed the COP26 was the commitment of international community to attain this goal. And many countries, including Korea and Bangladesh, declared their plan to dramatically reduce the emission of carbon dioxide. And here, Bangladesh played a very important, crucial role for this global effort. And we appreciate very much the Bangladesh's leadership and effort, and especially through the leadership of Prime Minister Hasina. So I think it will be difficult, but it can be done with our collective willingness and also our collective effort. We will work together with Bangladesh government to achieve this global goal.
Thank you so much for your time and your insight, Mr. Ambassador. Dear viewers, relations between Bangladesh and South Korea are currently very strong, as Ambassador said. The generous amount of donation and support from the Korean government has helped us greatly during the COVID-19 pandemic and in handling the ongoing refugee crisis. Now, as Bangladesh recovers from the effects of the pandemic and resumes her economic growth, there is no doubt that future economic and cultural ties between Korea and Bangladesh will flourish. Now we must brace for the looming threat of climate change and look forward to developing our nation in a green and sustainable manner. It is my hope that relationships between our countries will become even stronger in the years to come. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining with us.